Live from beautiful Deer Valley, Arizona, you're listening to another edition of the Patriot Radio News Hour, and this show's brought to you by the Patriot Trading Group. Legal, lawful, constitutional tender, gold and silver is the way to go on this 14th day of May 2020 in the year of our Lord. In this show, you can find us at Patriot Radio News Hour all around the world, brought to you by allamericangold.com. Updated daily with news to comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. You can call us at 1-800-951-0592. You can email us. You can send up smoke signals. You can text. There's so many ways to get a hold of us that it's just crazy. I'm joined with President of Patriot Trading Group, fellow miscreant Joe Jaquint, and I'm Eric Cedarstrom. Good morning, Joe. How are you doing?
Hey, happy Thursday. One more day till it's Friday, and I know how much everybody looks forward to that. Unfortunately, we had the jobless, first-time unemployment jobless claims number was out again this morning, another whopper. Here's the good news. It was under 3 million. The bad news, barely under 3 million, 2.98 something, shubidaloo million. The total now, 36.5 million people have filed for unemployment claims in the last 8 weeks.
If you believe that number, then you have to believe the debt and deficit number.
That's a good point.
Because the unemployment numbers are much higher. Even our own government admitted that late last week. So, hi, how are you guys doing? You know, I woke up this morning tired and depressed. I go, and I realized the whole morning I thought it was Wednesday. I'm like, it's too tired. It's too tired to be a Wednesday. I just realized it was Thursday before we went on the air. I go, now I feel much better. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it to Friday.
I got one more in me.
This show, you're listening live here in Phoenix, 1010 KXXT, Family Values Radio, and we're also live on the mothership at 1360 KHNC, the roar of the Rockies. The news is just crazy. I mean, the equity markets are all over. They had President Trump come on, and they tried to cue the great. Listen, nothing's changed. I mean, what you're watching, anything that shows up on a TV screen has all been pre-scripted, president included. So the Dow was down 400 or 500. They had the president on within 30 minutes. Now, remember, if you can bring a Dow back 400-something points in 30 minutes, you know, what took, at one point, 30 years.
That's a good point.
It took 30 years for the Dow to go 500 points. That somebody's, manipulating things, obviously. But our president, God bless Donald Trump, God bless the United States of America, he says 2021 is going to be one of the best economic years we've ever had. The economic rebound starting in the third quarter of this year will be the beginning of a transition that will result in one of the best economic years we've ever had in 2021. He said on the air this morning, I call it transition to greatness, Trump told Fox Business Maria Bartiromo in an interview with Mornings with Maria. Oh, he did it yesterday. Third quarter, that's the transition quarter. We're going to do well in the fourth quarter, and I think next year with all the stimulus and all the things we've done, I think we're going to have one of the best economic years we've ever had. So I can tell you one thing, we're going to have the most expensive economic years we've ever had. Again, I'm on the camp that they're going to nationalize and monetize everything from sea to shining sea. They don't have a choice. We're already starting to see the subsidies that have put in place are now starting to fade. The stimulus. And I don't know what's happening with Nancy Pelosi because they're very quiet again. Been very quiet all week. They were supposed to vote on this tomorrow.
Listen, they can be quiet. It's going to get a lot louder because they're running out of time. Here's the reality, and I don't care what side you sit on. Like me, I'm one of the dying breeds of I'm a true fiscal conservative. I don't think we should have done any of this. Obviously, I don't think we should have shut down the economy, number one. Number two, I don't think we should bail anybody out. I mean, business is business. Either you can survive or you can't, and that's how it works. But having said that, the Republicans, the president, they can say what they want. $3 trillion still isn't enough.
Oh, gosh, no.
It's not enough. I'm sorry, and I know you read what the president's comments. Listen, if you believe that, I have a hard time believing. there's no way when I look at these, when you're looking at 1/3 of the S&P 500 is going to be filing bankruptcy in the next 6 months.
Well, and that's the thing. We'll get to that as well later in the show about they're shoring up the bankruptcy courts right now. They're hiring. So if you're looking for a job,
it's going to be overwhelming what's going to happen there. So when you talk about the $3 trillion, they put it off now, right? Okay, well, we'll go another week. Is
that what they've done?
They're going to go another week. The Republicans aren't ready yet,
right? Because Wall Street hasn't collapsed.
We got to get there,
right?
Right. So I'm thinking right now. So the Dow's down about 100 points or wherever it is, a little over 23,000. I'm thinking 3,000 to 4,000 more Dow points
in a day
should do it.
If they can get it in a day, they'll just be, where's that stimulus? They'll be running through the hallways going, where's the stimulus? We need to sign it so they can get on the air and save Wall Street. They always save Wall Street.
That's right.
Don't ever forget that. You kids playing along at home. You've got your decoder ring, the Patriot decoder ring. Okay, go to ZXY. What does that spell? Bailout. So here's what Trump said this morning. This is where they cued him. I'm sorry, I had yesterday's quotes. He's supporting, President Donald Trump said today he supported the strong dollar. This was this morning. The U.S. dollar index extended its gains. Yes, it's great to have a strong dollar. Now, how do you have declining interest rates and strong currency? That's an oxymoron. Or maybe I'm just a moron. Well, I don't even know what day it is. It is Thursday. We'll be back. I am dumber than a stick some days. You're listening to the Patriot Radio News Hour. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Eric Cedarstrom. Got Joe Jaquint here and Arlene out front. Doorbells ringing, people coming and going. It's quite lively around here. I was going into the break talking about the president and his comments this morning on the strong dollar. Said he supported a strong dollar. Now that has changed because he wanted a weak dollar for trade. And let me finish the article here. So the U.S. dollar index is up today. It's at 100. So, I mean, when we had $1,900 gold, we had a dollar index at
77
or
something like that. It was in the mid 70s.
So they're playing with that. So, but the president said it's a great time to have a strong dollar. Everybody wants to be in the dollar because we kept it strong. I kept it strong, he said in an interview on Fox Business. The dollar index today extended its gains. On Wednesday, the head of the U.S. Central Bank closely watched speech, which they hated, about negative rates, said there's a sense growing, I think, that the recovery may come more slowly than we would like, Powell said, making a direct appeal for Congress to do more to address the crisis, a.k.a. $3 trillion stimulus Friday. At the same time, he said negative interest rates are not something that we're considering. Trump today told television network that he could live both ways regarding the dollar's strength. He said he supported it for now. From a trade standpoint, and again, we're supposed to have a sovereign president who wants a strong dollar. It's the globalists that want to give this country away that collapse the U.S. dollar. But he said from a standpoint, it's tougher. But from a country standpoint and an inflation standpoint, you don't have inflation if you have a strong dollar, and you don't have any problems, he said. And right now, it's good to have a strong dollar. Right now, a strong dollar is a great thing.
I'm going to just tell you right now, that's all. Call right now. Because here's a man who's been the president now for 3.5 years, been running for, close to 5 years, talking about wanting a weak dollar. And all of a sudden, this morning, he's telling you strong dollar. Yeah, something's up.
Now listen to this. Trump,
and gold's up big today. Apparently, strong dollar means big gold.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So, again, this is how we knew markets were going to trade. Get ready. This is the new normal. Nothing makes any sense. Trump previously, of course, called on the Fed to push rates into negative territory, which is a way to limit dollar strength, a.k.a. weaken the dollar.
I think what happened, this is just my guess, is Treasury Secretary Mnuchin, a.k.a. Goldman Sachs, sat down with the president yesterday and brought out the charts and the graphs and said, here's what's going to happen to J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and all the rest of them if we have negative interest rates, and that's going to be the end of the dollar, Mr. President.
Now, I don't want you people rushing out and buying gold before I do this next article, but you would be smart to get shirts, tennis shoes, clothing, computers, car parts, anything that you need. I would stack up on. Just get as much as you can, because Trump said in an interview this morning that we have a very good relationship with China. It's all Trump this morning. But he says we could cut the whole relationship off immediately with the Asian nation. If you did, what would happen? You'd save $500 billion if you cut off the whole relationship. I said this for years. I said to other countries also, China is not the only country ripping us off. And NATO, we were to defend Europe for nothing. By the way, essentially nothing. I was able to get them to pay hundreds of billions of dollars more. Meanwhile, China could have stopped the coronavirus pandemic. At its source, said Trump, adding that he doesn't know if the decision was made to allow that to happen, but it's more likely got out of control. So anyway, the war drums are beating and the rhetoric. But to cut off China, okay, now just stop thinking about this. Okay, the Long Beach ports are closed. All right, everything. You think the food and meat sections are empty at Walmart now and the grocery stores? There would be nothing left. This is what people don't understand. We gave it all away. Not some of it, not pieces, all of it. Somehow we're going to have to repatriate all this, and the only person that's going to do it is President Trump. You know what? He took a shot at Biden. I don't know if you've seen the new commercials about how Biden's, so disheveled, and it's no secret. He says all these stupid things, and it's no secret. But you know what? The elitists want that. That's the kind of president that we want. Let me remind you the previous largest stimulus ever. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on, I forget.
Shame on me.
Shame on me. No, George Bush. Remember, he got it wrong.
Oh, yeah, he got it wrong.
W got it wrong. Not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but very easily. I kept some of the old Wall Street Journal front pages that had, all those guys in the bailouts and the tarps and Neil Kashkari, and they were on the front page of every newspaper, and there was Bush in the middle, because they could get him to sign anything. That's why President Trump, has run a business. He understands. You should look at things and go, well, why am I signing this? Nah.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. I firmly believe there was a big meeting last night because they had to convince the president, okay, Mr. President, we can't do this weak dollar thing because you're going to kill all of the banks.
Right. Speaking of killing the banks, Warren Buffett, he's losing faith in the United States. Billionaire Warren Buffett has dumped a substantial amount of U.S. Bank Corp. So Berkshire Hathaway dumped some ungodly amount of shares. He's now only owns 10% or something, but I think his total shares. Sorry, my computer.
A lot of selling out of Berkshire, and that just tells you very much. We talked about Stanley Druckenmiller, we talked about David Tepper, we talked about Jeff Gundlach, and all these the real smart guys in the room talking about the overvaluations in the equity markets. And really, you got to put Warren Buffett in there. Warren Buffett won't say it like that, but he says it when all he's doing is selling and not buying, because, Warren's favorite trick is I buy really good companies that are extremely undervalued, and right now he's not buying anything.
Well, he sold 497,786 shares of U.S. Bank Corp. Wow! So, of course, U.S. Bank closed yesterday at $29.45, down 50% for the year.
Wells Fargo took a big hit as well, and I think really I do, and I'm almost certain. I'll try to look it up. I don't know if I'll get to it, but I believe the bounce back today, bank shares were under huge pressure this morning, and I believe the president is trying to alleviate that with his comments about the dollar and dropping the negative interest rate thing.
Oh, it was a cue the deer all the way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So they had the president queued up. They had the punch protection.
I truly believe this because they've been trying to give you the baloney about how well capitalized the banks are, and it's different this time, and it can't be different when 10% of everybody with a mortgage isn't paying. It can't be different when I don't even know what the commercial loan non-payments are. 20%, 30% of people not paying? It can't be different. And I think someone was telling the president, hey, we better watch out here because we may have a problem in one of these banks sooner than we want to if you keep doing what you're doing.
Well, they wrote, without more aid to individuals, the U.S. bankruptcy courts are going to be facing a tsunami of filings, not only from average Americans, but companies as well. This will clog up the system, which is why many experts are calling on Congress to shore up the bankruptcy courts with more judges, more funding, and more employees. But its first priority should be shoring up individuals, obviously, for whom bankruptcy is seen as the last resort. So the first stimulus money, obviously, is – and they haven't even handed it all out. This is the point they're making. Now, they're able somehow to get control of the equity markets, which looked extremely dismal an hour ago. I mean, an hour ago, we were heading into economic Armageddon. Somehow they've waved a magic wand. Gold didn't buy it. Gold's really starting to
Gold's
roar
at the high of the day right now. Yeah. Gold's up $28, $17.45. Silver having a nice day, up almost 50 cents now, $16.11 right now. The U.S. debt clock took another leap forward this morning, now 25.2 trillion. So $225 trillion, $220 billion. We just passed 25 trillion, a week and a half ago, and now we've added another 200 billion on top of that. It's a lot of money coming out right now, a lot.
You know, it's weird to think that, 3 weeks ago that oil was trading at negative $37 a barrel. I mean, that's
$26 today.
Yeah, that's a pretty big move.
But here's the problem. At $26, it's still not viable.
Yeah,
it's not viable.
Well, we can't get it out of the ground here. You can't.
Right, you can't. That's what I'm saying. You can't frack it. You can't shale it at $26.
You think somebody with a sense of humor actually opened up a company called Frick's Fracking?
Frickin' frack.
Frickin' fracking. Boy, we better be careful. I'm like one syllable away here from getting kicked off the air. So, yeah, the oil thing, of course, now top U.S. commodity markets regulators are warning exchanges and brokerages that they should be prepared for extreme volatility in pricing.
And what they're saying to them is sell all your contracts that you don't plan on taking delivery and do it right now. Do not wait because we'll have that same effect again.
The U.S. Commodities Future Trading Commission, the federal agency overseeing the FTC futures and options trading, sent a letter dated yesterday that exchange operators and brokerages need to consider their internal risk controls and protect markets from manipulation. Notice comes before next week's expiration of the U.S. West Texas, here we go again, intermediate crude delivery contract for June.
Yeah, get out now. So it's the middle of May. They're kind of letting everybody know, hey, listen, you wait till next week, that may be too late.
Yeah, you might want to head for the exits now. What's interesting in the picture, they have a picture of steel, oil, copper tubing, gold bars, silver bars, and an ear of corn.
Well, corn, they're worried about corn right now that we're going to have huge stockpiles. You got to remember the gasoline. Corn gets a lot of corn use in that as well. That's another commodity. And again, we have this strange, what are we going to have? Depressionary, deflationary, or are we going to have skyrocketing prices? And it's almost like it's a mixed bag. We got half the prices are collapsing. The other half of the prices are skyrocketing out of control. It's crazy.
Again, I told you, this just be ready for unprecedented times. Now, if the gold futures expire at negative $30.67, then I would say I won't do any more broadcasts because obviously you'll be casting your gold and silver into the streets. The seals will have broken and the horsemen of the apocalypse will have saddled up. So if that happens, if we're here on the air and they go, gold is now worth nothing, just throw it into the streets, it's all over. Some people think the seals have been broken. The book of Revelations, which I'm not an expert on by any means, but the pandemic is certainly, what's interesting? In California, you can get booze and pot, but you can't go to church. How about that? So,
see, I don't like when you do stuff like that.
Yeah. You think God might be a tad bit upset? There's only 30 million people, 30 million heathens. So, I'm sorry. 1-800-951-0592. Let's check in on Boeing sales. Imagine if you were at Boeing. You know,
it is amazing.
It's a government-subsidized liberal union organization, and they've run it completely into the ground.
Now, most of their workers still furloughed, but they said, hey, no, we're going to get ready to start making stuff again. For the month of April, I believe it was the second month in a row, they had 0 orders.
Now,
right?
imagine
0.
a sales chart. So, you know, like, all right, I got my grease board. Okay, we're having a sales meeting. All the airplane guys, you know. How you guys doing? What do I got to do to put you in this 737 today, sir?
Coffee for closers. You guys aren't getting any coffee?
My watch is worth more than your car. So, and here's last month's sales. Goes straight to nothing. You can't even draw an arrow because they sold nothing in April at all, and they sold nothing the month before that. Sales are 0.
Not only that, they had 108 cancellations. So really, they were negative 108.
Negative sales rates have set in at Boeing. Don't worry, you're still going to subsidize all the employees making $80 an hour.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. Mrs. Schlafly was a courageous and articulate voice for traditional values and common sense for more than 70 years. And now, from the archives of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, here is Phyllis Schlafly.
Let me tell you about a rare unanimous decision by the U.S. Supreme Court on a controversial redistricting issue. Every 10 years, we have a national census as required by the Constitution, and congressional districts must be redrawn to reflect the shifting and growing population. Texas added 4 million new residents in the 2010 census, entitling it to 4 new seats in Congress. The Texas legislature redrew its districts to comply with the new census, but its work was then challenged in federal court in Texas. In an example of judicial activism, the court replaced the legislature's work with its own, giving Democrats a net gain of about 5 congressional seats. Texas appealed quickly to the U.S. Supreme Court, which reversed the lower court's decision. The Supreme Court held that the lower court should have deferred far more to the legislature-drawn maps. The most significant part of the Supreme Court's decision, in addition to rejecting judicial activism, was how it expressly repudiated the concept of minority coalition districts that was approved by the lower court. A minority coalition district combines 2 different minorities, such as Hispanics and African Americans, in order to make the sum of their populations a majority of the district. Because Hispanics and blacks typically vote for Democrats, the real effect of forming minority coalition districts would be to expand the number of Democratic majority districts. The Voting Rights Act allows and even requires the creation of black majority districts based on a theory of discrimination against that specific minority group. In tossing out the judge-drawn maps, the Supreme Court properly closed the door against politicized minority coalition redistricting.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. In 2016, the conservative movement lost one of our strongest leaders, but Mrs. Schlafly's work and her voice continue through this radio program, our work in Washington, and the influence you have in your own community. Be part of that legacy at phyllisschlafly.com. We encourage you to bookmark phyllisschlafly.com and join us again for the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
Collar of a man. He came from the school where you didn't need nothing if you couldn't make it with your own 2 hands. He was backwards, use words like no sir, yes ma'am, by God.
Patriot Radio News Hour continues in its 25th year. Thanks for tuning in. I can't take credit for all of it. I took 4 years off. They dusted me off, and I'm back. So, yeah, they can't sell any 737 MAX planes, so the orders have just been 0. I don't know what they do with them. I mean, what, they got ads on TV? Hi, I'm Bob at Boeing's used plane lot. We got 737s down here like new. This one's only got 2018's only got 3 hours on it before we grounded. Bring the kiddies and the little pilots down. We've got lots of peanuts and pretzels that we used to hand out, and we don't do that anymore. How about that? I mean, what are they going to do with them? They got to be somewhere. I've seen.
Maybe we can have, like, instead of the used car auction, right, we could have the gently used plane auction.
What do they do, fly it through the barn? Yeah. What was that? I got $3 million, $3.5 million, now $4. Who said $4? I don't know. It's a mess, and it's a mess. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but you know what? They did it themselves. I was here. I chronicled it for you when Boeing left SeaTac because of labor costs. And the whole thing was just getting overrun in Washington, the most liberal state. They're like, yes, guess what? They went up in the air and announced their new headquarters in Chicago.
Of all places.
Of all places.
Right, that's how smart. This is what I'm saying. You don't move to Chicago to cut costs.
Right. Do you have a factory
there? You go to
there?
Texas, or you go to Arizona, you go to Florida. You don't go to Chicago.
Right. They did it for stimulus, bailout, government funded. Now, again, legitimately, Boeing builds a lot of fighter planes, right?
Well, they have other contracts. Obviously, commercial aviation is their big one, but they do other things, yes.
Is that who builds our fighter, or is it Lockheed?
Yeah, well, Lockheed has fighter, but Boeing does some of that. Boeing also does satellites and other things with the Defense Department, so it's not just commercial. But let's face it, without the commercial airplane division, Boeing
I remember doing the show. Yes, they announced in the air. Yeah. They didn't know, or the plane took off with all the executives out of SeaTac.
They were going to show SeaTac. Right. We're showing you, Washington.
Right. This is where
Washington State.
Right. They became a whole new globalist company. Okay. Did they have any plane hangars in Chicago, O'Hare?
Oh
no.
No.
Build anything there?
Nope.
No. We're going globalist. Had they announced it on the ground, the entire aerospace union would have beat the crap out of it.
There he is. Yeah, get him, boys.
The plane would have burnt on the tarmac. So, I mean, that was the new globalist. Was it? And that was that, and that's America. That was in the height of NAFTA and GATT. So now the Boeing planes are built in gazillion different countries, and they just glue them all together now in Seattle and
in South Carolina.
And they don't work. Now. They don't work. Nobody ever said it. You know me. I'm a right-wing nut job, wacko tinfoil nation that the Chinese did all the electronics in them and might have purposely took them out so they don't work.
And I'm going to say this to you. Another reason they don't work, right? The software problem. Right. All of that software was farmed out to India, to coders and developers
cheapest bid.
That don't know anything about aerospace at all. Matter of fact, you can't find anybody in charge of Boeing that's actually an aerospace engineer.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
I mean, they're run by bankers.
Run by bankers and, globalists. It's not working. They're done. Now, are we going to bail them out? I said, don't worry. The $80 an hour
Boeing
job.
Sold a bunch of bonds. They loaded up. They've executed the debt markets.
For a while.
We'll see.
If this continues, the only way to get rid of this virus, I hate to tell you, is everybody's just going to have to get it. It's the only way.
And I'm not a doctor, I don't know, and I know the president tried to say that, oh, no, we're closing in on a vaccine. It's not happening.
Well, if you're a year and a half from now and we got to lock down the economy and everything again, the whole thing starts all over. I read a story which I agreed with, that when 70% of the country has had it, that the virus will have nowhere to go. If, in fact, and it's a big if.
Well, at that point,
in fact, that you actually gain immunity once you've had it.
Yeah, at that point, does it just turn into all the other flus where it's still out there, but 30,000 people are going to die from it?
Right. That's what it turns into, which is what it is anyway.
Because you build up that immunity to it.
So just some people just don't fare well. So as U.S. states now start to ease coronavirus lockdowns, one group has warned that its troubles are worsening without enough financial support. Renters. All these companies are getting bailouts. We need a bailout too, said Sammy Borma, a chef and Uber driver in the Washington area. By the way, Uber passed a government policy, no passengers or drivers without masks. If you don't have one, you can't get in the cab. So instead, the guy was talking, the Uber driver said he's a 47-year-old father. He has not paid his monthly rent now of $1,800 a month. Now he's 2 months behind in Alexandria, Virginia, but that's not the only issue. In the meantime, you've got to look at the landlords and the people. They did a study that what goes into the pocket of a landlord after their expenses and costs and mortgages are 9% a year is what they make on a rental, which is what is considered a good ROI. So you've got 43 million households in the United States are renters, according to the National Family Housing Council.
43 million.
43 million. Half of the renters by mid-April were already behind paying for their housing.
What?
So half.
So over 20 million?
Yep.
Wow, I have not seen that number. They keep throwing the mortgage people up. Now I know why. That's a much lower number, right? When I say 10% of the people with the mortgage aren't paying, okay, you're like, oh, that could be worse. But if I say 50% of the renters aren't paying, that's a scary number.
Well, and here's the issue again. So, the current housing crisis is unprecedented in recent decades. So, say if the level of cohesion is inspired across the country, people who have been in housing for the past 50 years, the impact that most of us can remember is the 08-09 crisis. But non-payment of rent can have serious ripple effect. Industry groups have warned, including negatively effective tenant credit histories, potentially making it harder for them to rent again. And but what nobody's talking about is this is going to bankrupt property owners. It's going to create many more problems than not bailing the people out will solve.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens with the Airbnb rentals. It's going to be very interesting to see, what happens with a lot of these Wall Street big banks created subsidiaries that rent hundreds and thousands of homes. And then you've got the small guys, right? The little guy. Maybe I've got one or two rental properties. It's going to be, I don't know how all of that's going to shake out.
That's all middle-class people, and they're not getting anything. So here you got the squad telling people, don't pay your rent. Yeah. Right? But, if you
don't pay your rent, don't go back to work.
If you own 2 or 3 rental houses and nobody's paying, you've got mortgages on them, now you're going to go under. So I don't know. Now, of course, can you do it? The lawsuits that can pile up, do you have any idea the lawsuits that are coming? So you're in a bankruptcy court. You've got 4 rental homes. You're all behind. Your cash flow stopped. Nobody's paying you. They're trying to foreclose on you. You're in the bankruptcy court going, I'm going to sue the governor because they shut down my restaurant, my business. They literally asked for blue laws for rent moratoriums here in the state of Arizona. So there's the lawsuit. I'm going to file it against the state of Arizona for any damage.
I could have got rid of that guy and got a guy that could pay, but you wouldn't let me.
Right. So it's just getting started. Is this fun or what? We'll be back. Stay with us. You can take it. Patriot Radio News Hour. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm kind of running in second or third gear. I'm an Allison 6-speed, so when I get up and going, usually it's Friday. Getting high gear on Friday. I still think that there's going to be, when some semblance of normalcy and the virus, the evil white shark is gone and we have to get back, that they're going to have to adjust Social Security and get rid of the old boomers, get rid of us, and get us out of the way. So, because right now, the older workers, of course, are getting hit the hardest. So they said they're usually the first to go.
First to go because they make more.
More money,
the last that get brought back, and it is what it is, right? You can sit here and you can look at it all, and just like I suspected, I took a quick look. J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo, Discover, all the financials are rallying now on the president trying to steer away now. Yeah, hold the dollar together type thing. Gold seeing right through it. A huge up day here in the gold market.
No, this is the Eric Cedars from School of Finance. Everything's going up.
Everything.
I don't care what it is. Take a pick at it. You think gold or you think any oil or anything's expensive, try to get a pair of tennis shoes if Trump shuts down China.
We're at this point now where the vast majority of states now have started reopening some things, right? Some are farther along than others. But even California now, right, they're trying to walk back everything because people have had enough. The problem is in Arizona, and I've got some friends that are in the restaurant industry, and I'll just tell you, Monday, they were all optimistic, was a pretty good day. Tuesday, Wednesday, huge steps backwards, and now they're all do exactly what I told you. If you've got a third to half of the people that are saying, you know what, I'm just too afraid to go out there, they're not going to make it, Eric. They're just not going to make it.
Well, we'll see what happens. So the new normal. Now, will they shut down, or will the government subsidize them? The government, in my opinion, needs to subsidize it all. So they don't have a choice. So it's just going to happen.
Well, at this point, what's the difference,
There
right?
is no difference. Might as well look. I'm so far right. I'm coming around the lip.
I mean, we went from 20 trillion to 30 trillion in about a year and a half, right? What's another 10? Throw another 10 at it.
So,
Right?
I mean, they're never going to pay it anyway. I mean, if it was like, God, our debt's almost $1 trillion. If we really buckle down, we could get it. But in Trump's mind, I think, ultimately he's asking for negative rates. Now he quieted that down, and they brought the Dow back 400 or 500 points today with his dollar comments. But in reality, if in fact they could go negative enough, of course no one will buy them, but technically there'd be no interest on the debt. Now, can they roll it over? I don't know if you can roll it over at negative rates.
The other problem nobody's talking about, the central bank. Okay, now we don't know what the new numbers. What are at least $8 trillion? Okay, they own $8 trillion worth of U.S. Treasuries.
The Feds,
right. The central bank, the Treasuries, and the mortgage backs, and all. What happens to them? I mean, are they going to start taking huge losses? I mean, I don't
know how this works.
I don't know how it works.
So the only thing left is gold. So the government says we're buying all the gold, and that's the new that worked. They didn't steal it from you. When they recalled gold, in 33 for 100 years, a $20 bill and a $20 gold piece were interchangeable. And a funny thing started happening. All the gold, the $20 gold started vanishing. The $20 bills were everywhere. So they said, we'll give you $20, and you ready for this one? This is the same guy that sells used Boeings. $20, and would you believe 67 cents in silver and copper. What? 67 cents at the height of the Great Depression? A lot of people went and turned around and go, you believe how stupid this government is? Giving us $20.67 for a $20 gold piece? They're not very smart. Those fools! Of course, after they got it all...
Then they made it $35.
$35.
And then the foreign governments, can you believe these idiots? They're going to give us $35 for these $20 gold pieces, and they flooded us with their gold pieces.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then all of a sudden, after World War II ended, those same governments who are thinking we are idiots to do it started demanding all that gold back.
Yep. And that's the issue you still have going on today. That they were able, these countries, these small countries, and, there's such a gold shortage that it's just ridiculous. And, that the nice thing is, though, wherever God was very intelligent, wherever he created gold, he created rumors. He just put it right there with it. So, China's been buying. China's still been running commercials now since they've been industrialized. They encourage, believe it or not, the communist nation, they encourage their citizenry. They run gold commercials. Buy gold. They want the Chinese citizenry to have gold.
There's a reason.
Well, they'll take it. They won't pay for it. They'll just kill the people. But it puts more gold in their country. Here in America, people way too stupid to do that. Way too stupid. I mean, the percentage of people that have a U.S. $20 gold piece in today's society in America is just unprecedentedly low. Most people never see one, ever own one. They may be on television, but certainly never hold one. And that's an opportunity that you have. That's what we do. How long will this keep going? How long will you be able to do it? It's merely speculation. I'm still of the belief that they could exonerate the entire U.S. coinage. And I'm not talking about, $500,000 Carson City, collectible U.S. gold pieces, but just all the material that we handle could be easily exonerated in hours. Hours. You just can't get it. So we've seen a couple bits and pieces of that. But it's so interesting, too, that Wall Street is what triggers the panics. So if the stock market's not crashing, nothing gets done. Stock market's down 3,000. Good line. You can't get a line through here. And it's not just us. It's the whole industry. And the suppliers don't answer their phones. But yet, Wall Street stock ownership in America is the smallest percentage per household in the history of the country since they invented the exchange. So nobody has it, but yet somehow it's this great power meter. I don't get it. People standing in line to get toilet paper. Why? Because the stock market's crashing. Do you have any stocks? No. But I need toilet paper. That I know. Crazy, man. It is the biggest conundrum anywhere. We'll sit here and chronicle it for you on a daily basis. Try to help you out and hypothesize a way to we're all going to get through this together. Good Lord willing. Maybe we're not. I'll be back. Final segment. Well, if you're scratching your head trying to figure out what's really going on, you're not alone. So I henceforth ergo the following story. Mortgage applications from home buyers jump 11% despite the rise in mortgage rates. So mortgage rates ticked up. They're like at 3.26 or something. They ticked up 0.1% or 1/100th or whatever it is. So I don't know. Go figure that out. So there's still no homes on the market because people living in them aren't going anywhere. And obviously you don't want to put your house on the market when you're quarantined in. So Goldman sucks. Economists have revised their forecast to reflect a gloomier outlook for the U.S. labor market. They're now calling the unemployment rate will peak at 25%. Now, if they report 25, then you got to know that it's 35 or 40 when you take in small business.
I mean,
so
we're staring down at 50 million people not working.
Hard to imagine.
It's
hard to imagine that 3 out of 10 homes aren't working. So, man, something that we've never seen ever in my age. I mean, unless it's, they're retired or something, but people that want to work, let me put it that way. Then they have a picture. If you want to go into an Apple store on the front of the Wall Street Journal today, they're going to check your health. So they got a guy with a temporal scanner.
Let me tell you right now, that's the one employee I don't want to be.
Right, the guy doing that. But you know what? Think about now, if you want to go to work before they'll let you in, that you have to do the temporal scanner thing. Now, remember when you were a kid and you wanted to fake a fever? Now, you kids were lucky. You had blow dryers. We didn't even have blow dryers. I had to take a towel and rub it on my forehead for 10 minutes and time it right when my mom came in so I could get out and go into school. So how many people are going to have, the blow dryers before they get their scan so they can get the day off? So, I don't know. Oh, $20 gold, Joe, silver, what's the market doing?
$10 gold pieces today. So, yeah, we haven't had 10s in a while. Tell you what we're going to do. U.S. $10 Liberty gold pieces. We're going to cut $25 a coin off, $1,050 for a U.S. $10 Liberty gold piece today at 800-951-0592. By the way, I have 3 quarter bags of quarters left. Silver shot up almost 50 cents an ounce today. I'm leaving the price. $4,200
now there's
on a quarter bag of quarters. You get 1,000 quarters, $4,200 delivered. So if you want some silver, we've got that. On the gold side, the $10 libs at $1,050 a piece at 800-951-0592.
Well, buy us, call us, collect, call us direct, text us, as I said at the beginning of the hour.
Yeah.
You can do anything you want.
Gold's up $28, $17.45. Silver is up 50 cents, $16.18 to the ounce. The Dow up 100 points after being down almost 500. Apparently, we're back to strong dollar.
They did a good job saving this whole thing today. But again, you got the Dow up 0.5% and gold up 1.5%. So this again is the Secretariat race. It's outrunning sham, and it's just what's going to happen. Get ready. There's no way there's no way. Study your history books. Study what you know about economics and supply and demand. And when you create more supply of anything, it loses its value. And they're going to do it. I'll tell you who's upset. We didn't even get to it. Nancy Pelosi. Her $3 trillion stimulus bill went out the window when they saved the Dow Jones this morning. So that won't get anything done this week. So, all right. That's it. Tomorrow, Jack Daniels Friday. Drink along with Eric. Boy, I'm looking forward to it. If we make it that far, good Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow. Until then, take care of you.